What's going on, brothers? Welcome to another live stream of the Hall of Game podcast. This live stream, I started off with Brother Gabe, really helped me develop it, and we cater this towards African American men who are looking to empower themselves in the corporate America. If you're looking to gain entrepreneurship advice, if you're looking for one of the essential careers. Maybe you're a brother that is trying to change careers, and we cover all the topics from tech, from academia. Maybe we cover topics about professional school, and much more. Right. So if you're a African American man and you're interested in these things, this is catered for you. And we do have brothers that are coming from outside of the African American diaspora. We have brothers that watch this from the UK. We have brothers that are watching this from Africa. So I salute all of you brothers. We welcome you to the Hall of Game, and we put this show together for you, brothers. Let me introduce every brother on the panel. I will start from Dr. D, Hassani, and Brother Gabe, and we'll let them introduce themselves and get their brag on real quick, and then we'll go into the topic. Go ahead, Dr. D.
Hello, everyone. This is, Dr. D coming from South Carolina. Have about 20 years of information technology experience. Just out here to help brothers get better and share the knowledge and can get my words out. Collaborate with the panel on this topic and any other topic, to help make everybody better and give them that information they need to hear.
All right. Thank you, my brother. And then we have Brother Hassani. Go ahead, brother.
Hassani Ali from the D, your marriage blogger, coach, and advocate, writer for the Negro Manosphere. YouTube channel will be debuting this week, and so be on the lookout for that. And actually just found something out. Brother Gabe and I are actually separated by one neighborhood, so I'm not too far from his neck of the woods.
Absolutely.
All right. And last but definitely not, Mr. Blue Velvet Suit Coat.
Listen, that's cheap. Okay, that's just a look. That's just a show. No, but yeah, man. Thanks for having me again. Gabe Bay here on YouTube. Background in engineering. Currently working in cybersecurity, kind of melding the two together, helping to protect the world from those cyber hackers, those people that take your social security numbers and credit card numbers and sell them on the dark web. I work to protect people against that type of stuff. So, that's as it concerns work. But, overall, just really here to contribute to the Hall of Game in areas of professionalism, and brothers really kind of been on their game. So, just happy to be here and just happy to contribute with these well-established brothers here. I know O'Shea say he the dumbest one on the panel, but not at all. He is the patriarch, the one that is leading this whole thing out. So thank you for the platform, and I'm looking forward to giving game.
All right, I'm definitely always the dumbest one, but I'm smart enough to be around them, so that don't make me that dumb. But so I mean, and shout out to Brother O'Shea Linux. He was trying to get him back mixing the Hall again. My brother out of Mississippi, he was dropping some good knowledge in the earlier podcast. I just want to say this. So we give so much information. Shout out to Brother Asquith out of Canada. We give some information, especially you guys, Brother Gabe, because you come up with a lot of the tech content that I'm not familiar with. I don't know the language or the jargon, but a lot of brothers come on here from the Andre Hatchets, from the brothers like you. Hassani is a newcomer. Dr. D is a newcomer. And then there are all of these things of how to deal, how to navigate through life, how to get into this industry, how to network, and how to do all of this. You guys are giving black men the building blocks of succeeding and learning the corporate jargon or learning the professional jargon, or just giving the professional game how to do things, how to build up your resume, how to interview very well, how to do all of these different things, Brother Rich Turner. But then we come to something that's a little bit more personal, and that is a lot of black men, if not some or not all, are going to look at some point as they're doing well to date and marry, and obviously specifically those black men who want to stay in the black community. So if you want to date an African American woman, if that's your preference, if your preference is something, a woman from from Africa or Caribbean or something like that. So if you're wanting to keep it black, you want a Hotep, Shazabay, Allah, brother, peace, Amin Ra family. Shout out to brother Sonetter. But if you want to like keep it black and you're looking at dating black women, this is your preference. One of the issues that the black community has is many of us are coming up from single parent homes. A lot of us, right? Most of us. And then the issue is once I get to where I'm trying to go, should I invest into a woman who comes from that same environment as me? Or if I didn't come from that same environment, am I taking the big risk if I'm dealing with a woman that does not have or has not been raised with a father? Anybody can jump on this first and we'll go from there.
I ain't starting first. One of y'all start first.
Let's let Dr. B. He seems to be very opinionated on stuff like this. So let's go ahead and brother and shout out to brother Andre Hatchett. It's actually his topic. He's trying to come on. I know what he's going to say. So let's go ahead, Dr. B.
From the beginning, I wouldn't say no. It depends on the situation of why she didn't grow up with her father. Now, if her father passed when she was younger, if her parents got divorced, that's different. But I wouldn't discount a female that did not grow up without a father because, as we know, a lot of young women yearn for male leadership and male guidance. And if you find a woman that can still take direction from a man and is not always being, rebutting you and always saying, hey, I don't need to listen to a man. I know that a man I don't need a man in my life. You can't tell me what to do. But if you find a female that grew up in a family to where there was no male structure, and they said, hey, when I get older, I grew up around other people that had that had a father in their life. I need to date somebody that can help me out. I need to learn how to take direction because as you see, I see the result of nobody not having a father in their life. I don't want to get with somebody with that same similar background and go through that problem again. Let me find somebody completely opposite to build with, to have a family. If you look at a lot of the athletes now, a lot of the athletes came from single parent homes, and majority of the athletes now are getting married and having kids with their wife. So they know how bad it is to come up in a single parent home. So they are trying to break that mold. And when you look at the environment that a lot of women are raised in, they actually see this is what can happen if you don't have a father in your home. And then, well, if I had a father in my home, would I have had more support from a male? Would I know what men do? Could I have followed the guidance and the leadership of a male? So that's my take on it for right now. Somebody else can jump in.
Right. All right. Shout out to brother Andre Hatchett for giving me this idea on the WhatsApp. Brother Dre. Well, let me see. Let's see if Hassani or Gabe want to jump. I don't know if his connection is that good, but shout out to brother Antoine Wade, brother Tony Davis, and brother Kenny Conjo. Who wants to jump in next?
I guess I'll take the reins on this one. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate role. I'm gonna say if a woman doesn't have her father in her life, I would say probably not the best investment. Yes, there are plenty of exceptions to the rule, but I'm gonna go this route because when you have a father, your father knows when to pull the plug on something. He knows how to vet who comes in his home. He knows how to vet who his children's friends are, what to look out for, who to advise for them to stay away from. I'll give you an example. I don't know if you remember the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where what was the youngest one's name? Ashley, and she brought the little hoodlum home, and Uncle Phil ran him out the house.
Yeah.
That's what fathers are there for. And the reason why I bring that up is because for a lot of us, for the women who grew up with just their moms and they had guys all up in the house at all hours of the night, what was the mom's response? Oh, it's just a phase. She's just going through a phase. She'll eventually grow out of it. But there's no policing there. She just kind of has her she's able to have her taste in different men without the consequences behind it, because mom will always bail her out. Dad's always going to be there to vet. Dad's always going to be there to let that guy know, if you're dealing with my daughter, you're going to have repercussions. And so a lot of men who would say, not in a malicious way, but for a lot of men who know that they can get away with stuff because mom is, letting her daughter have her fun or trying to get a swerve on herself so she don't care, would advocate to deal with the with the daughter or with the woman who never grew up with her father. So, if you're looking for the marriage type, the woman who had the father in her home sees her mother, loving her father, respecting her father, knowing how to take direction from her father. And you don't have to spend that time introducing it to the woman. You don't have to teach her how to respect you. You don't have to teach her how to love you because it's already innately in her, with her growing up with her parents being functional, at least.
Yeah.
No. Good point. Go ahead, Brother Gabe.
I'd like to continue on that point because I think I take a very similar approach to Brother Hassani and also Dr. D, because I think it becomes a preference for the brother, right? Because I know that in my experience, there were several things that I had kind of put down that I would want as a preference in someone to marry and things that I wouldn't want. I think a couple of things. One, wasn't looking for somebody with a child, right? I wasn't looking for someone who is a mother because I'm like, I'm not ready to be a father and I don't want to father someone else's children. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not looking down on those women, but that's just not my preference. And another preference was that whole idea that she had to come from a situation with a father in her household. And I'll tell you some of the difference that I noticed from more of an experiential perspective is that I used to talk to a young lady or tried to talk to a young lady. She was actually Nigerian and her parents had got divorced. And I guess she came up in like a situation where the parents would argue and the mom would always, overtalk or shout down the dad and everything to the point where they got divorced. Now, this Nigerian young lady, she didn't really have that like respect factor for me when we would have conversations or whatever. She would kind of like, kind of try to down talk me or whatever. And, I'm on my square. I'm like, who you talking to type of thing. So I recognize that wasn't something that she didn't experience in her household, and therefore it wasn't reflected in mine and her interactions. But with my wife, I remember there was a time where my wife's father, he was in the hospital, and that sometimes when somebody's like, you have a father or mother in the hospital, the family, they'll kind of sneak a little food in there for them or whatever when they're not really supposed to have it. So they had snuck a little food in there for him, and the doctor had came in, and the doctor was asking, like, where did food come from? Are you eating this? Or you shouldn't be eating this? And then, my wife and her siblings, they started to kind of tell the doctor, like, he had some of this and some of that. And listen, my wife's father, all he had to do was just look at them, right, quickly. And then all of a sudden, they were quiet, including my wife. And I think that showed not necessarily a fear, but a respect for the father and the masculine presence. So I say that I wouldn't say that women should are just completely throwaways if they didn't have a father, but in my experience, that's something that I preferred because they respected the male figure. So it's kind of whole thing. Oh, somebody clubbing in the background.
Go ahead, brother Dre.
Hold up.
You got some sound in the background, brother. Let me see here. Go ahead and talk.
How am I now? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. Okay, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing out there?
All right.
Doing good, brother.
Doing well.
Good stuff. All right. So my take for my personal life is it's a hard no. I don't do it anymore. There were too many similarities that I saw with women who didn't grow up with fathers, and those similarities don't work with my personality, right? If you haven't seen your mother following a man's lead, it could even be a stepfather, like somebody. Ideally, your biological father, but some man. Most women aren't going to get me because I'm more old-fashioned on the old-fashioned side of things. I'm not dealing with any nonsense at all. I have a very short tolerance for nonsense. Like, I'm just going to move on to a different direction. So for me, it's a hard and fast no. And the main reason is because of my personality type. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rule. Of course, there are. If she had a great uncle and aunt who were married. But for me, especially at my age, being 38, I'm not going to take certain risks, and I'm not willing to mold a woman on how to respect and follow a man's lead. I'll help you with other stuff. I'll help you with finances. I'll help you with education. I'll help you with a bunch of other shit, right? But that's one thing I need you to come prepared with those intangible skill sets that I'm not going through.
Okay. Let me I'm a little. You guys know me. I'm. Can you guys hear me pretty good?
Yep.
All right. Because I was having some issues. Yep. Shout out to brother Earl Owens. Now, my situation was I had both my parents, but my dad was like, he got on that crack nigga, and that kind of made me come up with a single parent from to a certain point. But one of the things I will say is when you are being raised by a mom and the dad is not there, one of the key things that can help help a young man's life, and I'm going to get to the women, is like, do you have a family that can help you? Like, do you have a grandfather who's very involved in your life? In my case, in the Black community, that's very important. Like, do you have a support system? My grandfather was like, no nonsense kind of guy. He was, National Baptist. You going to church, you gonna sing in the choir. And I had some godparents who were the same way. My church community was the same way. So while my dad was, having his issues, my dad was, still much a very hard worker and stuff like that. It affected me to be the person that I am because I saw these men being like this. But what I've noticed though, that women, I don't know if that's the same case, because if the dad is not there and the grandfather is there, I don't know if the grandfather has the same effect on the daughter like the boy does. I don't really know if it's a different thing, right? Because
it helps. Yeah,
it can help to a certain degree. But let's just be honest. A lot of women, when you are a guy and you come from a single parent home, but you might have had a grandfather or somebody that could have helped you shape you as a young man. It's much different for a woman who doesn't have a father but has like an uncle or something like that. So it's a different circumstance. So I want to just point that out. Let me I got a little bit of noise in the back. Let me mute you real quick.
One comment about that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me just finish this real quick. And I want to say this.
Sure.
So dealing with women that have no mom, in my opinion, a lot of Black women, if you're a guy that is like below her intellectual capabilities, I'm not saying this is all the time, but usually she doesn't have as much of a problem dealing with you. A lot of Black women, I think, are not ready to deal with somebody that is on the same level of intellectualism or work ethic or hard working or drive. Dealing with a Black man like that is foreign. If your dad is not like that, number one, it's hard for you to pick a guy like that out. It's very difficult. So if the father is weak and lazy, or if he's not there, it's very hard for you to decipher like, oh, this guy is, this is a standard for me. So when you come across this woman, she's not going to understand what your role is and how you're supposed to be, because she's never experienced this. And also you got to go back to the typical African-American female programming. I'm independent. I can do this by myself. I can take care of my mom. I can do, all of these things. And a lot of times, a lot of Black men are relegated to, okay, you just a nigga to give me some dick, or if I need you to do something like, you're supposed to be here. The way that Black men are looked at as something like is expendable kind of thing. And unfortunately, no matter how much a woman loves you, if she's not ready for this, this is not how she's going to look at it. And shout out to Antoine Wade, because he made a comment that says that, the mother has to be the caretaker in the home. If the woman doesn't see the mother being the caretaker in the home, she's not going to be able to see that. Now, there are some women who are naturally inclined to be feminine, and stuff like that. And I get that. And don't get me wrong. Like, I have a lot of compassion for African Americans because I'm one. I know the things that we go through. But here's one thing I'm going to say. I'm going to give it back to Brother Gabe. There are a lot of women that come from our community, and we understand where they come from. Here's the problem. A lot of black men at this stage don't want to put in that effort. Like, if your parents didn't teach you what my role was, what my responsibilities, to build on Andre Hatch's point, I'm not going to deal with it. Right? I mean, why would I deal with it? And I'm going to tell you exactly, to Antoine Wade's point, this is why a lot of black men that are in the professionals situations, they date non-black women. I mean, you saw the NFL draft, right? Every year we see the NFL draft, the NBA draft, we see professional black men. It's not uncommon to see these professional black men with non-black women. And I do mean white. And one of the reasons why is because typically white women that you meet at college or something like that, they have their moms and they have their dads and they know these roles. And a black guy gets in contact with things like, oh, so this is how it's supposed to work. And a lot of times black women that don't have fathers, they don't understand how it works. And this is why I think a lot of times you see a lot of more black men going to some of the African women. You see some black men going towards the Latin women that are black, and African-American women are just being left behind because simply when it comes to that understanding of the role, black women in America, African, they can't compete because it's not that they're not pretty, but they just can't compete with that understanding of the role. So let me do this. I'm gonna go to Brother Gabe. Shout out to Brother Antoine Wade. My mom would not approve of me marrying any lady who wasn't brought up a two-parent home. Even my mother and father relations failed. Guys, don't marry down. Don't marry into non-strategic dysfunction. Marriage should be how you grow. Growth is up. Thank you, brother. Hot topic, right? Taking no shots to the panel. Salute. You want to come on mediocre tutorials and reviews? Go ahead, Brother Gabe, if you wanted to jump in on that, brother.
Yeah, I did want to just bring out one particular thing that I noticed, and I don't mean to jump out of turn here, but I'm noticing it's a resounding no when you're reading the comments here, right? No. I would not deal with a woman, marry, be in a relationship with a woman who doesn't have a father. And I'm not trying to call out the brothers. I ain't trying to set it off, but you can't say that you wouldn't deal with a woman that doesn't have a father and be against marriage and productive black families at the same time. I think those two ideas are in contradiction to one another. If you are against black marriage or just marriage in general, and if you're saying that you wouldn't deal with a woman without a father, then you're self-defeating. You're defeating your whole, you're really. Mm-hmm. Those two are directly in contrast. You gotta shake it up. That's just the point I want. That's just the point I want to throw out there because everybody says no, I wouldn't deal with a woman.
Dynamic point, brother.
Well,
Gabe making shots early. Shot. It's the first quarter, Gabe.
That's a hell of a stance to take, but somebody we got a show now.
And this is a conversation that we need to have, O'Shea, which is why I sent it over to you. Is we need to have a standard base. A lot of us aren't taught any standards, and we're out here doing what we're doing, and it's like we don't have a baseline. So and look, now my baseline might not be someone else's baseline, but we all need to freaking have one. We all need to have a line that we will not go beyond. So I might date a girl who might be slightly overweight, right? But I'll take a little more weight if she came from a stable upbringing where her parents and her grandparents were married. So that goes high up on my list. I'll take a 6 looks-wise if she comes from that kind of background.
Mm-hmm. Well, my thing is with over 70% of black households being single parent, the next generation is going to be tough because we got men and women growing up this way. So we have that stance. That means there's not going to be any marriage either way because a female might say, I don't want to date a guy that doesn't have a 2-parent household. And a man will say, I don't want to date a woman that doesn't have a 2-parent household. So both of them are sitting there looking at each other like, what do we do?
Take a class. Take a class.
That standard is going to disappear. That whole standard is just going to disappear. It's not even going to be around. But
yeah. But that's how we fix things. And look, I can't fix it because I'm not that good at marriage yet. So hopefully my next go around I'll be able to get more advice on it. But like that's where we need people. Hate to call you out, Gabe, but like Gabe's who have solid long-term marriages to give a class, write a book on how you do it. So it is overcomable. It's just I'm not signing up for that particular fight.
Well, okay. I think if the woman is if a woman is not combative and she's feminine, I was stating earlier, the woman might say, hey, I saw the results of a male not leading. Let a male lead to see what happens, because you'll find that they'll say, I need a man to lead. I see how my aunts grew up going around struggling. I'm going to be different and let a man lead me. You have some women that are like that are just waiting.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're out there. I do think it's in the minority, though, to be honest with you.
It's very rare.
I think so too.
Because most of them, my auntie, we all heard the story where my auntie and all my aunts struggled. These sorry ass black men ain't did shit for them. Y'all niggas ain't shit, and all this other stuff. And you hear that enough, you're like, hey, well, dad wasn't here. So why do I need a man? She's thinking, why do I need a man if these women were able to raise kids to go to college to become successful? They'll think in the back of their mind, I don't need a man. But deep down inside, we all know you need men to lead. I mean, I'll put that out there on any forum. You have to have men to lead to bring stability, to bring leadership. And that's one thing I preach. I'm big on men leading, and women need to let men lead. But women that grew up in an environment completely of women and children that have no guidance. I know we've all seen environments to where there are no men around and the women and the kids are just running them up. So hopefully out of that, it's very rare you may see it. Like you guys are saying, it's a small percentage that might say, look, I want to go the other route and have a man. I can't pay all these damn bills by myself. I need somebody that got life insurance. I need somebody that can help bring money to the table. Ain't all these bills and kids by myself is stressful.
Hold on a second. Before we answer, let me read these super chats and let's get to Brother Hassani and let him weigh on something because he hasn't been able to say anything for a while. But let me go ahead and shout out to the brother. I definitely thank you, brothers, and thank you, Brother Andre Hatchett. Got to put your name on the title there, brother. Brother, cut to the chase. Women that come from two-parent households are more emotionally balanced and more susceptible to male leadership. Women without fear, fathers resent men. Brother Marcus Love. Another Negro Manosphere writer in the building. If the man's weak, allowing the mother to run him, then the daughters emulate mom, thus repeating the cycle in adulthood with their own relationship. That's absolutely true. Tony, another Negro Manosphere writer. Just go cold turkey, no holler, no smashing, nothing. New 580 streams I like. Thank you, brother. Again, then again, fatherless black women will act right with white men. We'll talk about that too. So, guys, if you want to support the show, you can like the video, share the video. If you want to super chat and make a comment, you can. Let's go to Brother Hassani Ali, and then we're going to go to Brother Mediocre. He just came off his stream. And thank you for the super chat, Brother Mediocre. Go ahead, Brother Hassani.
So really quickly, I know we were talking about how a lot of people don't know what the roles are and what people will accept and won't accept. But you know what? What I'm really looking forward to see how this will play out is automation. How automation is going to, basically play a big impact on the working class. And so that may change people's tunes really quickly. People aren't getting, easy access to jobs, and you need, more than one income to run a household. People may change their tune very quickly. And so, again, I don't have a prediction on this, but I'm curious to find out, how quickly, people are going to change their tune when they're in a real panic situation. Again, which you have mentors teaching femininity classes. You have males finally learning about masculinity through these channels, through other avenues. Like there may be some balance restored here. And again, I think it's going to take something, drastic like automation or a big change in the economy to where people may change their tune. Like, okay, I can't play this game anymore because now it's about survival. People have their preferences because we're comfortable right now. A lot of arguments that we're having about dating and marriage are first world problems. You know what I mean? Like you don't see other places where, you know, people are making $1 a day, where they're worried about a man who, you know, is 6 foot plus, or a woman who could, you know, twerk 30 shakes a second. I don't know how you measure twerks, but like,
The unit of
you know,
measurement. Yeah.
exactly. But again, I'm really anxious to see how automation is going to change everybody's tune.
Okay, no, good points. Let's go ahead and shout out to brother Keep It Techie. Black Wolf, brother Keep It Techie. Let me go ahead and bring everybody up. Black Wolf, good content, brother. Thank you. Keep It Techie. Still a little shit independent. Good, that says Hall of Game. Gabe is right. If you're against marriage, you can't say the woman should come from the 2-parent household. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna give my take on what brother Gabe said. But I'll leave that till later. Black women will submit to cooperate with a non-black man because black men from non-black households hold women accountable and have standards. That's very interesting. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Thank you for coming on, brother. I know you just came from a live stream. Go ahead, brother, and drop some knowledge on them, brother.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the introduction again, O'Shea, and to all the brothers on the panel and all the brothers that's in the chat. It's good to be back. I appreciate the invite. So I was listening to components of the conversation, and I think specific to marriage, I can't give much advice about, but when it comes to just dealing with them, here's my perspective: is that I think I would, but it's different in a sense because it's all risk-based to me, right? If they come from a 2-parent household, they are at a least likelihood to not understand their role in the relationship because they had not seen it, right? It doesn't mean that because they didn't see it, that they don't want it, that they don't like it, that they don't understand it, okay? So with that being said, I've experienced women in 2-parent households that were shitty human beings. They were just bad people. And it was irrespective of components of their history and how they were brought up and what that they saw. They just were terrible people outside of that. And that came out in their actions. So I always say, it's all where you want to put your energy, in my perspective. And you know what I'm saying? And to me, it's up to the actions of what I'm seeing from her, right? If she's not doing things to try to rile you up or bring drama, if the topic of this video was should successful black men deal with hood boogers, I would then tell you no, right? But when it's specific to not a father, I think that I have to understand components of their actions and how they treat a man and how they treat a person in order to really understand their value in the dating game.
Can I add? I want to add something on that. I don't know if you wanted to read something first. Let me tell you about that, because that is such a strong point that Mediocre is bringing out, because there are certain women who come from those 2-parent households, just as he's mentioned, that are horrible. I mean, I know this one. And I do want to start it off with saying this, is that women who come from 2-family or 2-parent households with a father that is weak, or that lets her get away with a lot of things, get away with everything, that's a whole different type of young lady. I used to try to talk to a young lady. Her father was a judge. Her mother was a lawyer, but she pretty much had full reign of doing whatever she wanted to do, right? She was so entitled. It has such a big head, just as you mentioned. I don't want to say she's a crappy human being, but she wasn't the human being for me, right? So coming from a situation where her father let her get away with everything, that's a different type of young lady who, in comparison to a father who has authority in his household. So I do want to kind of reaffirm that point that Mediocre is bringing out, that there's different types of fathers. Right, those are weak that let them get away with everything, and those who have command in their own household. Because I've dealt with both.
Let me say this right before I go to Andre, and I do want to say this because I try to be moderate and I try to have some form of compassion when dealing with our people, and we got to put an asterisk. Dealing with African Americans is. You God gotta call you to deal with these niggas. Okay, we're gonna be honest. Dealing with niggas, Andre Hatchett, he knows. He be talking to me about it. Gabe, we all know how dealing with us. It's not easy, and you have to have some form of level of compassion for our situations. I will say that everybody is on a per case basis, right? And we don't want to generalize a group. Of course, there are some women that, under the right kind of person and under the man that has the right, because a great man that has the skill set and that can lead his ass off, a woman can do what she's supposed to do if that man is strong and he know what he's doing. That's going to be a little different. But, if you are a hell of a man, then that woman will, if she likes you, she'll do what she needs to do. If you are that type of man, I believe that. The problem is we don't have a lot of brothers that are that kind of man. All right. And I will say that. But here are the situations that we got to look at. And we do have a lot of black men that are leaving Black America, going to non-black women, and it's in droves. It's not like there's just a few. There are a lot. All right. And one of the issues is that there's a concept of like struggle love. And I want to say this, like, a lot of brothers have struggled. Most of us have been at some point really broke and come from nothing. Like our parents didn't just give us like, yo, here's 100,000, go to college. And like most of us, all of us had to work and do something and then get out there and do it for ourselves and turn shit into gold. And the issue is when you're dealing with black relationships, there is going to be a lot more strife to find out the roles. Most black people I know that are married, they come from single parent homes and they've stuck it out. It was hard initially because she didn't know what she was supposed to do and he didn't know what he was supposed to do. And now we have that. But I want to go back to Gabe's point. And I am a pro-black. Before I married out, and that's just me personally, I have been tempted to do so. When you make that commitment that I am a pro-black, I want to stay in the race, to a certain degree, you have agreed that you're going to be dealing with some of this nigga shit. I'm just saying, if you make that commitment, if you're dumb enough like me to make that commitment, it's a good possibility that you're going to deal with some fuck shit. You're going to deal with it. And on average, you're going to deal with it. Not saying that you will all the time, but on average, if you're dealing with a woman that hasn't, you're going to deal with a certain level of fuck shit that you probably shouldn't have to deal with. And that's just the reality when you limit yourself to dealing with niggas. That's just what you have to do. I'm just going to be honest. If you're a black man saying I'm staying in the black community, I'm dealing with just unless you get lucky, like you can get lucky like Gabe. But if you're an unlucky nigga like me, then what's going to happen is, to a certain level, there is going to be some fuck shit and some retraining and some, no, this is me and this is you. And no, again, this is me, this is you. And no, again, this is me and this is what you do, this is what I do. That happens. But if you're about black relationships, that's the commitment you're going to have to make. You can't come out there and say that, oh, I'm this and not the white man is this, and then then you over here with the Chinese girl, and so you're gonna have to deal with all the nigga shit involved, and but the thing about it is, where we at as a black race, for some people, I'm gonna just leave it there because I don't want to go into more detail, but I will just say there is nigga shit involved dealing with niggas, both male and female. Don't say I didn't warn you. It is coming. Hotep. Who's next?
I have a quick question. Are we talking about women of just black race or women of every race?
Black.
I guess we could say women of every race, but I'm pretty much sure that I don't know how many niggas of other races are going to be dealing with. I don't know if guys who date interracially that I know, are they dating women that don't have fathers? I mean, it's possible. Single motherhood is raising. But I think we put all across the board. That's just for the sake of conversation.
Yeah. So here's the thing: they're single motherhood, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't have a father. He might not be in the home per se. So all right. So here goes the idea, right? Her grandparents are married, her parents are married, stay married. But I guess 2A is her parents got divorced, but he's still a great father, even though they got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
that still has a great impact on her life, right? So it's not just Mary being in the household, it's who is your dad? What kind of morals and values does your dad possess? And I even want to pose this question, something to think about. Maybe we could even come back to it at a later time. If we spoke more about our preferences in terms of we want people from two-parent households, men and women, I wonder if more parents will become better parents. And I wonder if more of them will stay married if they knew that their kids would be judged harsher if they had split up. Would it push change in our community?
Mm-hmm.
It's and let me jump in there real quick. Brother O'Shea, I think you hit on a fantastic point and topic. And I wanted to, and as you were talking, I was like, man, he's really hitting it right here. I think that when you were talking, what I was thinking about was the idea of, you know, if you put a human being through struggle, some will overcome struggle, some will. Okay. But the majority of people that you put through struggle come out with baggage on the other side of the coin. I think that's what you're hitting on. Yeah. Is that for a type of people that have gone through historically way more struggle than the other people. Right. What we see, and the reason why we all have channels where we can talk about this to the degree that what we do is that we are still a people that is coming out of struggle, right? An analogy I like to think about from time to time is like, if you raise a pit bull in a loving home, that's going to be a loving pit bull. But if you raise a pit bull in struggle, that pit bull is going to bite you. You see, you understand what I'm saying? If you raise that pit bull to fight, it's going to fight. You know, so to a degree, I understand exactly what you mean. And I feel like there's a lot of brothers that are getting to the other side of the coin. And perhaps a component of those brothers dealt with the PTSD of growing up in a society of their own culture that ostracized them. Right. And then they come up to a certain point and they're gaining success. And then they look back, and then those that have potentially ostracized him from being corny or what have you, he's saying like this: peace, I'm out of here. You know, I'm gonna at this point in the game, it's survival of the fittest amongst the races. You know what I'm saying? Because while I, as a black man, as you as a black woman only want black men, me as a black man, I just want women.
Okay. No, great point. For the men on the panel and for the men who are in the chat, has anyone who was raised by a single mother, were you ever told by your single mother, don't date or don't marry a woman who didn't come from a two-parent household?
Nope. Never. Nope. Never. Nope.
I'm gonna let that sit there for a second. I'm gonna come back to it. I said let it digest. But let's think about that for a second.
Wait, let me do something real quick. Let me shout out to Uncle Markel. I need to get Ung back on here. Keep it techie. This is the new Rumble shit. Reminds me of the Super Slot Team back in the day. Great combo. WF Finals. I gotta support the Hall of Game. Too much game. Simeon Adams. If she was raised without a father, then find out how her mom raised her, especially when it comes to dealing with men. Thank you, Brother Simeon, twice for that. And let me see. I know George wants to come up from the, he's from the conscious community. Let me say this real quick, right? I'm and shout out to Jap. Thank you, Brother VJ. When I say struggling with Negroes, I mean, because we're our own people, like you said, right? We have sometimes negative experiences with each other. And we tired of, especially when you grow up around Black people all the time. You grew up in Del Paso Heights like me. You get tired of it. But I will say this. At the end, when Black people can do things together, it's always more worth it in the end. So that, getting over it and, trying to build that relationship, at the end of the day, those who can do it is more fruitful because, now you've learned to work with something. You've learned to teach your child a new skill. So, but I will say for a lot of Black people, Black men and Black women dealing with each other, there's some struggle-liciousness going on there, right? And a lot of Black people, when they get, educated in wherever they're going, they want to get away from that. And a lot of Black men, I'm telling you right now, what's happening in the world today, Black men are going to the best bidders. All right. A lot of people in the Black community don't think the Black community has nothing to offer. So What are black men doing? They're going to the PWIs, they're going to wherever, and they're going to the highest bidder. We saw that in the NFL draft. Like half the guys are with white girls, okay? And there's a reason for that. It's not just because, the brother's cooning. I mean, there's some issues that are going on that nobody wants to talk about. But George wants to come up. I'm going to take myself off and let him ask some questions, and he's going to jump off. That's okay with you guys?
Sure.
All right,
Okay.
so let me remove myself and
Hey, what's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Hey, what's good? Yeah,
What's going on?
Yeah, I just got I just got two questions. I asked one though, because I hear a lot of times a lot of men in this, not you guys on the panel per se, but just a lot of men in this sector talk about the problem with marrying a black woman or the problem with the black woman. But my thing is this, right? What I always ask O'Shea when we on the phone, if the black woman is so messed up, and you a black man coming from the same communities, and you marry out to a different community, and feel like you're getting peace with this other woman, what do you think? What do you think her family or the people of her ethnic group look at you? Because in their mind, if you feel like you're marrying up or you're marrying better, then they're looking at her as she's marrying down by marrying your black stuff. I sometimes it's just confusing to me, because why would she? If you looking at her or these people as a better standard than being with black, then why would she marry you? Why would she go get somebody that's come from her culture or within that standard? Why would she go get you? So it's just like, to me, it just seems like it's confusing when I hear like the talk. I know we got our issues in the black community, but I've been married for a long time. It's black marriages. Every group got their dysfunction, but that's my question. It's just like, if you're marrying this woman outside of your race, and because we so dysfunctional, why would her father look at you as being functional? Why would he want his daughter to marry you?
Yeah. I think I hit that first.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead, brother Sonny.
What up, George?
What's up?
George, how you feeling, baby? So I'm not marrying outside the black community. It might not be black American, but I'm personally just sticking with the black woman, whether here or an island or another homeland. So that's my personal stance on that one.
Yeah, I kind of hit it from a very. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting feedback. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I kind of hit it from a very similar perspective, and because a lot of times I've worked with a lot of like these white guys, and even though in a lot of my work environments, I've been seen as like an exceptional employee, an exceptional leader. These guys, I remember I had a manager. Who had a daughter. He was actually Italian. My manager was Italian, and he had a daughter who was literally like my same age. And he was saying she's looking for somebody and all this type of stuff, and looking for a guy. And he was just saying, she keeps getting these guys that he doesn't really approve of and everything. And I actually met his daughter. She was kind of being nice. So I was backing away. I was backing away because he never kind of introduced me or kind of brought that. So kind of to your point, George, I would say that I agree with that whole idea that a lot of times these white guys with these daughters, these white daughters, they don't look at us the same way that they would. A lot of times they don't approve. And my own preference is to be with a black woman, but I don't disparage any brothers that do anything opposite. And a second point for the reason why I choose to be with a black woman is just relatability. I don't come from the same background as a lot of these young ladies from white communities or Hispanic communities. And I just, like, me and my wife can joke about things that we grew up on that is very tailored for the black community. So that's my preference. And I don't disparage any brothers otherwise, but I do see that a lot of these white dudes, they don't approve of us being with their.
And let me say
I can see your point there.
And let me say this real quick, because like I said, I don't get into I'm past the argument of I prefer black men be with black women be with black men, but I know that all black people don't live in the same areas. We don't all grow up the same, so I'm done with that because it is what it is. But the argument is confusing to me sometimes because at some point we get on hand, we cry racism sometimes, all of us. You have men experience racism in these corporate buildings, everything. So my thing is this.
Oh yeah.
If you have a problem with the black woman and you're saying you're marrying out, what I need you to understand is white America has, the same way we've been trained to cry racism, they've been trained, Santa Claus is white to them, Jesus is white. Everything associated with greatness since they've been kids is white. So they got to be reprogrammed too. So they see you the same way you see that black woman. It's historically been that way. Somebody asked the question, why don't you see white men with black women next to them? Because within their families, they look at us a certain way. So I don't care if you go get Becky, but the same way you talk down about the black woman, her father or that family still look at you the same way. And then I'll give my second question. I'm gonna jump back off so she can come back.
Hey, brother, just real quick. I want to put in my couple of quick thoughts. I heard you say a couple of things that I wasn't sure if either I heard them correctly, but if I heard them the way that I think that I heard them, let me try to repeat it back and then see if it was what you said, and then let me then go from there and dissect kind of my opinion off of what I thought that I heard you say was an idea that black men don't want black women because black men think other races are superior. Is that what you said?
No, I didn't say anything like that.
Okay.
No, I didn't say that.
Because I thought I heard you say that. Okay, so if you didn't say that one. Another thing that I thought I heard you say was that how does her father feel about me because I went somewhere else other than his daughter? I think you didn't say that either.
No. Let me repeat so that way you
go ahead, brother.
I just said when we're talking down, I said first of all, I said black men, educated black men experience racism too in them corporate buildings. What I'm saying is the same way we talk about black women without fathers and the way we have a view of our communities, because we got a lot of mess in our communities. Overall, white America view us that way, period. So when you're talking down on her, he's looking at his daughter when she marries you as if she's marrying down. That's just the way it is. So that's what I'm saying. So while we talking about our own, when Becky want to marry you, she's still marrying down. I mean, unless the family just has nothing.
I think my confusion is that you're assuming that that's what they think, or there's like an air where they consider that black people are lesser than them a majority of the time. I think that that's a big assumption. I don't think that that's the air. Like that to me feels like you assuming that another race considers you lower is not my mindset.
I understand what your mindset is and what you may put in your mind, but historically in this country and what we experience, we know what it is. I try to clear that from my mindset. It is what it is. The same way. What I'm saying is the same way we got in our mindset about our community and the way we view ourselves is still a mindset in the way we're viewed as African Americans in this country. We can't get beyond that. I mean, you just because you may be able to advance certain things because of your intelligence, the thought process in this country is still what it is.
I hear you, brother, but I think a component of the way that, because what you were saying is that you don't understand it, and I was trying to highlight why you may not understand it. And it's because not all brothers who go through that have an ideology that other races view them as inferior. I think if you take that point of your argument out of the equation, it can be a little bit more clear to you.
Well,
there's a superiority or inferiority that's going on.
Superiority. Listen to what I'm saying. Take superiority out. What I'm saying to you is you may have an ideology. What I'm saying is the thought process in this country towards us. It's not a superiority, it's just the way we're viewed. That's what I'm saying. So we can take the term superiority and throw it out. But everybody know the way African Americans are viewed in this country. So what I'm saying is there's still a component in the mindset in this country that when she marries you, she's marrying down because of the way we're viewed.
I think it's definitely experiential, definitely at its foundation, because what I've experienced is I've actually experienced much of what George is saying, but I wouldn't say that would be widespread. Like my sister married a white guy, and my sister is in medical school and have been scholastically achieving all of her entire life, and she married a guy who, barely was in like an associate's program, in community college. Like they would they would have parties if they got a C in like pre-calculus in associate, like, and they worked on cars and everything, and they kind of went from job to job to job. That's the life that he was living. But yet his family kind of thought some type of way about him marrying my black sister, you know, and they would express that. So, but I wouldn't say that experience is necessarily widespread, and that's why I say I think it's very much so experiential.
It's in the what I'm saying is it's in the mental fabric of America, man. I mean, we're getting better. We're getting better, but us as African Americans, we know certain things. I got a second question. I'm gonna jump off though, because I don't want to keep it on this. I'm gonna jump off. My second question is when we talk, because I always talk about brothers leveling up. When we talk about brothers, there's a lot of brothers that's educated, but that don't make them married material. What makes a brother that come from the communities that we come from, just because he got education, married material? Because he may come from a single mom too. So we say, well, I'm not marrying a woman that comes from a single mom. But what makes you married material?
And shout out to Gabe real quick. I love that response on the last question as well, Gabe. I think that it's an experiential thing that's very important to us to understand. All within the mindset is that is the longer that we proliferate the us versus them mentality, the longer it's going to take for us to get out of a victim mindset of feeling inferior.
But you keep putting inferior. Listen to what I'm saying, because I want to take that out. I don't want you, when I make a statement, to use that, because that's not what we're talking about. And it's not really a us versus them. When I listen to what I'm saying, it's a mindset in the way we're viewed. So it's not about us versus them, because a lot of us work real hard every day, from blue collar to white collar to whatever. Work hard, bust our ass. It's just a perception in the way that we're viewed in the communities that we come from and why we work so hard. So it's not about inferiority. It's just a thought process in the way that we've always been viewed. So please stop saying that, because that's not what I'm saying.
You mind if I jump in for a second?
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, let me jump in for a second, because I've had experience with white women. Before I met my wife, I dated a white woman and was on the verge of getting engaged to her. And I'm gonna answer both questions in the same scenario. Is that even though you have an education doesn't make you marriage material, it's something about other races of women that they see the potential in you that makes you marriage material. And when I was dating that white woman and I had a serious conversation with her parents, and her parents sat me down, they were like, Hassani, I'm gonna ask you a serious question. Don't take offense to it. And usually when someone says that, it's gonna be offensive. They were like, Hassani, you were an amazing guy. You were going to school, you know, you're a leader, you know, in the campus. We see potential in you. You know, you're very polite. You know, you dress well. Why don't women in your community? Why don't you date women in your own community? And I had to sit there. With a tight jaw, because I could not fathom to say that I was not chosen in my community because of those things. Because I dress well, because I'm going to school, because I talk the King's English, I'm not viewed as select in my community. But I didn't want to tell them that. And so that's one of the things that we have to get out of the perception of, because they check on me to this day, married and kids and all. They still think I'm an exceptional person. My best friend is married to a white woman. Once they see that you don't portray the stereotype, that you dress well and that you're about something and you're willing to progress into a career and that you're a well-producing man, then the race kind of goes out the window. It's only when, you know, I won't say only when, because there are some, you know, stereotypical perceptions with it, but usually they usually don't get alarmed until it's the dreadhead, pants sagging, weed smoking brother that, you know, that they're messing with, because brother, you know, has the perception that he's going to be no good to her. And so to make a long story short, it all depends on the perception that you give to white folks or anybody of any color. And, you know, a lot of people who are educated tend to show that they're going to produce. And when you have the ability to produce, that's what makes you marriage material. That's what makes you a candidate to say that you could be a father or, you know, a husband that could provide for a family. It's not necessarily the education, but it comes with what getting an education entails. Being on time, showing up for class, doing your assignments, doing them on time, what extracurricular activities you're in, what people say about you. It's not just the degree, it's what all goes into it. And the difference between what men and women boasting about the education is men don't lead with I'm educated. It's usually a man will say, you know, I use my education to become this. I use my education to build this. Yep. It's a means to an end. It's not necessarily I have a degree, but that degree was the tool that I used to turn into whatever career path you have chosen.
Let me say this before we go to Andre and Dr. D. Just want to say this real quick. Shout out to George for coming on. I'm glad we have these panels, right? Because we all agree a lot of times, and you know, we will disagree. I'm one of those people. The fact that if I have to prove to you that I'm not like a Pookie or a Ray Ray, and if I have to prove something to you in that respect, I don't really need anything to do with you or anybody who looks like you. And I'll just be honest. For the most part, white people have shown us time and time again. Now, you do have exceptions to the rules, but like Elijah Muhammad said, the white man has been showing the Negro that he needs to do something for himself. And that hasn't changed. I think that a lot of brothers have, you know, we can mask our accomplishments amongst, you know, high professional degrees and high earning potential. But, you know, what Malcolm X said, what do you call a person that has a medical doctorate, a black person? You call them a nigger. And I've gotten this experience from living in Poland. And Polish people are less racist than white people, but there's a difference. But and white people tend to have a nationalism that doesn't include others to a certain degree. I think that we would be stupid to think that doesn't exist. White people, you know, so I'm not saying all of them are like this, but we do know that there is a difference between whites and blacks. And if anytime, for example, if you have too many educated blacks moving to wherever white people move, where do they move? They move away. I mean, this always happens. Like, white people typically don't want anything to do with blacks on average. There is the hand, you know, the hand-picked few that do, and then it's once they do something that's too crazy, they're out. So I mean, I think that we these are conversations that, because as black men, we already underneath the dominant society. I mean, I understand what Brother Mediocre Tutorial is trying to say, but I do have more of a pro-black man mindset. Is that I'm going into the thing assuming that, okay, I'm black, they're not black, that there is some sort of prejudice against me because there always have been and there still is, and there might not be right now, but I'm looking for it. So I think that black men got to understand what they're dealing with. And I mean, you know, black men really got to start to try to do something for themselves, because this is the reason why we even have this show. The fact that we have this show shows, it proves there's some level of prejudice against black men. This is why we have to have an all professional black male podcast. Like, if that's the truth, if it wasn't the case, we wouldn't need to do this. The fact that we do this shows that there's some validity to what Gabe and George are saying, because we're here every night talking about things like this. So, I mean, that's all I have to say about that. I mean, you know, brothers can want to go to Andre and Dr. D, and then we can go back and go to the next topic. Brother Andre, you want to?
Good stuff and good questions by George. Yep. You hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Testing. You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Great questions by George. So here's what we have to consider. Is yes. So the issue of single parent households have to be fixed. What we choose to work on within our community, I think that should be up to us as individuals. So like, I help with business stuff, right? Male personal development, business, real estate. Like, those are my main sectors that I help and educate the Black community with. I'm not gonna help in my dating life. I'm not gonna help a woman overcome her issues without having a father in my dating life.
Mhm.
Now, in my dating life, I help sisters all the time overcome their bullshit. All the friggin' time as a platonic friend or whatever, or mentor or advisor, all the friggin' time. So you can help with an issue, but still not involve yourself in the issue in your love life, if that makes any sense. That makes any sense. So we can help with things, but we don't necessarily have to take on the responsibility within our life. And we have that right to, because there are a lot of things that need to be fixed. And as I always say, is that we have to fix or help somebody, but we don't have to fix and or help everybody with everything.
Agreed. Yeah, I have a little bit of experience with that. I had a young lady who we were really close friends, really good friends, not no type of romantic interest in one another, but she was coming from a single family household, like a single mother household. Actually, she actually came up in some type of like foster care, also had issues with her. We're both parents. What had happened is that, I mean, we're both the same age. At times, we were both kind of looking for somebody in order to get in a relationship with and eventually become married. We were approaching that 25, 26 age. And we were like, yeah, we need to start building towards something. We don't like each other, but we looking at building something with somebody else. And, we would recommend, so we would use each other as like buffers for other people, right? So say, for instance, she was interested in a dude, right? She would throw him my way. I'd take him, we'll hoop with something, or we'll go out and like spend some time together. And I would kind of vet for her, like, because she my homie, like that's like my person, right? So I would do that for her, and she would, and I would do the same and she would do the same for me. Actually, she kind of vetted my wife too. Like, they actually got a really good relationship, became friends and everything, and she was able to give me like the inside scoop. So, like, even though we might not want to engage in those type of relationships, I mean, helping, somebody who we're a platonic friend with, who's the opposite sex, isn't something that's completely out of question, right? I mean, if that's your friend and you want relationships to go forward, Black relationships to go forward, ain't nothing wrong with that. And to this day, we're both married to the people that we recommended to one another. I mean, they just built a brand new house in North Carolina. I think she's pregnant now. So, I mean, we can still help, even though we don't desire to be a part of their situation.
Dr. D, did you want to get involved, brother?
That's a great point, Gabe. Both of y'all are married to people who we now help each other.
Yep.
I don't have too much to really add. We can go to the next topic. I just been soaking up game, listening to everybody's opinion on everything.
Okay, so I want to talk about this, right? Because we talked about that in the Black community. I think George kind of skipped over. So let me ask you this. We I want to talk about the NFL draft last night. In the last few rounds, right? We saw a lot of African American men, with a lot of white women and stuff like that, and interracial dating. I don't have a lot of experience in this, and I know our brother Antoine Wade. He's married to someone of a different race, and a lot of brothers are. Like I said, I don't. Like I said, I know a lot of 25% of Black men, something like that, are married out. So you get no hate from me, right? I understand. But what I want to know is, for those who have dated interracially, for successful Black men, is it that Black men are marrying these women because they think that they are just better? Or is it that is it a combination of, these women are coming from a different household? Is it that, Black men are being colorists because they really love what, white women or Asian women or Hispanic women? Like, why do we have so many of the talented Black men that are doing very well? Now, we do have a lot of them that are staying in the Black community. Don't get me wrong. A lot of talented Black men are staying with Black women, but we do have a number of reasons that successful Black men are marrying other women. Thank you, Brother Gabe dropping off. I want to ask, does that have anything to do with colorism, or is it that successful Black men have given up on the Black community? Or are these women they have a better understanding of these roles? Anybody want to take that off?
Well, from experience, I've noticed if you're a successful black male, other nationalities of women see you as an asset. They will say, hey, well, you're doing this, well, that is great in our community. Or they will look at you and say, hey, you're doing the same thing that this guy over here is doing. In the black community, we've discussed this numerous times before. If you're smart and intelligent, you're looked at as lame. In other societies, you are looked at as if you're the top, you're the prize, as we say. And those women, when they see that, they say, hey, well, I have somebody that I can work with. A lot of those women don't see color. And I'm a black male. I've dated interracially. And I've noticed those women receive me more. About 6 months ago, this older white lady that I knew, she said, hey, my daughter works out there where you work at. You should try to look her up and find her. Out of the blue. I've had that happen. Yeah, she said, my daughter is a industrial hygienist. She has red hair. You should look her up. Shit you not. Her mom was a school teacher. She said, you should look her up where you work at. She works out there. Because I was doing something for the United Way. And in the room, this black lady to the left, I had never met this black lady before. Her smile went to a frown. All I did was to come do is pick up. All I came to do was pick up money from the white lady. And the white lady said, my daughter's out there, So you'll notice even the white women that are married with husbands, they're receptive. They're nicer. I'm not saying anything bad against our community, but like we say, you go where you're received at. And I've noticed when you go to other communities, you're received better. I'm just being honest. It's easier, more casual. And the women actually come from those those communities. They know where their place in society fits. And they say, well, this is a man, I know what he does. And I think a lot of those athletes, they grown up in the single parent household. They said, I have to get something different. And I think you mentioned it before with your people on the panel. Sometimes or many times men go get something that's completely opposite, because I know Ricky Smiley's son said, I don't want to date black women. I don't want to date black women. And I think that shot Ricky Smiley. Even his son said, I don't deal with black women, period. I want to date somebody else besides that.
And let me shout out about the JK caveat. He said stereotypes exist for a reason. It's because the majority of people have proven to be such. Perception of black culture comes from TV and is negative. Twerp Nation, they treated me well to my face, but told the daughters behind closed doors that they would never accept me no matter how exceptional I was. Shout out to brother Gabe A. He had to drop off. Thank you, brother. Ill Will. Something for Tip Jar shit. I don't even think about colorism as cooperation. If you talk too much and self-entitled, you're going. I want to know this real quick. Also, let's include the other emerging blacks in the conversation. So if it's not non-black, let's include Africans also. We'll include, because I'll have my perspective from the African community in the Caribbean. That's like the Haitian, Jamaican, non-African American. So we'll include them in this mix, because the first conversation was just like the African American community. Now we're including everybody, and then also let's, for the sake of argument, include the Caribbeans, the Haitians. I mean, technically they would be our people, but but the Brazilians, the Africans, we include them. Like intercultural dating is, for some of us, like interracial dating. Who wants to go next?
I'll hop on next.
Go ahead.
Give me things, O'Shea, if you that define a successful black man, if you don't mind, real quick. Income at what number per se? Like 50K?
Well, I mean, I think that the amount of money probably wouldn't be what it is, but I think like the mindset would be first, right? The person that is consistent, he's strong-willed, because the money would just basically be the outcome of what he's going to do. But I don't know. I would say a successful black man, if we're talking about earnings, I would say 70,000 and above, something like that.
Okay, cool. All right. So most of my friends and associates are married, right? And they might make between 40, 50K upwards, 125, 200, 250, $300,000, right? So if we're using that as a decent character, cool guy, all that good stuff, the 95% of them are with Black women. Now they might have who they smashed in college and on the weekends after college, that might be different. That might be different, but the high majority for still Black women, and the majority actually married to either brown skin like me or darker skin woman. I don't know if that means anything, but the high majority are. So for like a few football players and a few actors who people might call successful, I think it's in majority. So I totally disagree with the whole thing. It might be skin color or white acceptance. The high majority are looking towards Black women, and I'm educated per se. I don't have like a high college degree or formal education wise, but I'm considered someone educated. And I've always done well with Black women. There might be certain kinds who I do better with than others, but I've always response from the Black woman in general. So again, whether it be here or abroad or what. So like that argument doesn't hold much weight.
Okay.
And I'm not sure of the exact numbers, and I hate that I'm not sure because you guys already know how much I love my numbers. But the majority of Black men are still marrying Black women, right? So like let's just keep it right there. So what we see and we look at the draft, and we're seeing not the most in the case of Black people. At the same time, like I do think, like just as I was talking about, I was alluding to earlier. I think like Black men are really, they're way more simple, right? Like it's like you give them a couple of things and they're pretty much happy to a degree, right? Like if they come across a woman that they are attracted to, if they come across a woman that is a high degree of femininity, and something else that's important to Black men is a low body count as well, right? And if you bring those three things, I think irrespective of race, if they find those three things within you, they will consider you, right? So like I just think like these young men they're sitting in different rooms, so they have access that they may not have had access to before, and then they just become attractive. I don't think it's a superiority thing. I don't think it's an inferiority thing. What I think is that in combination with the different rooms that these specific men are sitting into, what they've now become accustomed to, and then also a sprinkle in there in there's more two-parent households in non-melanated, right? And within that, they may have had a lot more examples of those more traditional roles. So someone that can come into their life and show that more traditional role, something that they would like, they see it there more so than what maybe they've saw with their own kind earlier, or their own people earlier in their life. So I just think Black men like women, and as opposed to a lot of Black women, are more attracted to Black men.
Let me
O'Shea,
go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
do you consider intercultural relationships at the same level that you consider interracial relationships? So me pursuing, let's say, an East African woman, is that the same for you as me pursuing a white woman?
You like the East African woman?
Hypothetical question, O'Shea. Hypothetical question, brother. Or Jamaican, whatever. The same skill for you, or is it Black? Or in the middle?
Okay, I'm gonna answer that question because I will say this, right? Because I've been in Africa, and brother Andre is a friend of mine, so he knows. And George, I talked to them. One of the things, like I lived in Poland, and I'm echoing. Why am I echoing? Okay, so I live in Poland. Right now I'm stuck in Uganda. When I look at somebody that's Nigerian or somebody that's Zimbabwean or somebody that's Ugandan, before I would consider them like, okay, they are not necessarily African American, but they would be Black, and there's a lot of similarities between Africans and African Americans. It is some of the same foods we eat. Niggas are the same almost everywhere, but I definitely would not consider them African Americans are the same. But like my mother, would even consider me marrying an African person to be, well, at least she's black, but she's not African American. I'm just gonna be honest. Like there are families that have preferences. My family would prefer that I was with an African American, and similarly, a Nigerian person, Yoruba, Igbo, if their daughter brings me home, okay, he might genetically be our people, but he's not our people. Like this guy is not. He's not one of us. But he's not white, but he's not one of us. Now, here goes some of the things that we're talking about that can make that ease the transition. With Africans, you are black and you can be accepted if you're a person that is trying to learn the language, if you are showing respect to the culture. These are some of the things that you can do that I don't think that can ever be that can ever happen in the white race, right? There are some things, and interculturally, it's much easier for me to go to Jamaica and be with a black woman because our people were on the same slave ship. You just got dropped off in Jamaica, I got dropped off in Compton or Louisiana, or they got dropped off in Brazil. So it's easier for our people to be together in Africa and African Americans. It's more natural. If I'm in Poland trying to have a relationship with somebody that's from Poland, it's not as natural. We don't look the same. Because like in Uganda, I'm walking around. If I don't say nothing, Andre, if you come to Kenya and if you don't say nothing, anybody gonna bother you. You know, it's gonna be like, that's another nigga with some glasses on. You know, if Dr. D comes now, mediocre tutorials, they gonna fuck with him because oh, he's not from this place. Who's this one? Huh? But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I think for us, interculturally, dealing with Africa is different, but their lifestyles and attitudes towards relationships is much different from ours. For example, Jonita is here today. She's in the apartment with the rest of the Kangana. We're in the same compound. Jonita doesn't even they don't even use the refrigerator at home. She doesn't have a washer or dryer. Okay. Now, if it's an African in America, it's much easier. But if it's a continental African, it's much different. So it's a different culture. It's a different lifestyle. It's a different way of thinking and doing things. So, and also, you can't speak their language. You know, you can't speak Luganda. A lot of the culture and stuff is, I mean, you know, you're American, we're westernized. So I still would say it's easier to deal with a continental African, but I will say that what's different about Africa and Black America. Africans have a much more higher respect for people who are educated and who can contribute. You get a lot more. I mean, there are guys over here, and Africa has some of the most beautiful chicks on planet Earth. I've been everywhere. Brazil, listen, women over in Africa, South Africa, Uganda, Kenya. Listen, these chicks over there, the real deal. You're talking about bodies and booties and faces and like, there's no place like this in the world. Never. I've been here 8 times. There's a reason why I've been here 8 times, right? Count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was in Brazil, wanted to come back to Uganda. That's how serious Uganda is for me. All right. But I do want to say this. At the same time, there's an appreciation that Africans in America have for high performing people. You can, you know, in the Black America, there's a certain level of nigga shit that you have to do to be accepted. Like you could be a stone cold academic in the Nigerian American community and come out with a beautiful, beautiful African girl, beautiful, beautiful Haitian girl, beautiful, beautiful Jamaican girl in those communities. You cannot come out of the African American community and be a straight academic and come out with a beautiful, beautiful African American. It doesn't exist. It won't happen. Here you will see a guy who is a nerdy looking motherfucker in Uganda, and his girlfriend will have the fattest ass, and she will be fine as a part of the culture. He can be a short motherfucker, all of that. In Black America, nigga, you better be tall, you better be muscular, you better be driving the Benz. Listen, you're not, for sure, if you are a smart, talented guy in Black America and you're like not really personable, you got to get a white girl. It's no doubt about it. You're not gonna have no black girl. If she's black, she ain't gonna be African American. That's for sure.
Yeah. What
you ain't getting no cookie being no smart academic and not a black. No, you're not. You got to get a white girl.
say.
Hey, O'Shea,
Yes, sir.
what percentage of the women who you know who are in Uganda, between Uganda and Kenya per se, who grew up without a father? Even if he has like 2 or 3 wives, like it's probably under what, 30%?
What did you say it again?
What percentage of the women who you know in Africa grew up without a father? Even if their dad had 2 or 3 wives, it's probably under 30%, right?
Not many, but it's growing. Single motherhood is growing in Africa. Shout out to Ghana. Ghana Dan to tell you he's in Ghana. So single motherhood is on the rise in Africa for sure. But let me do this though. Let me get to Dr. D or Hassani, and I'm gonna come back to you, Andre. What do you guys want to contribute?
Sonny hadn't said much. He can go ahead.
Oh, Ghana, Hassani.
Honestly, I mean, I only had experience dating interculturally. I've dated a Haitian woman. I've dated an African woman. But other to that degree,
how was that different than dating an African American though? Those two.
Oh, that's a good question. And actually, this was going to go to my point about the athletes and the white chicks. When you go to a college campus, it's the first time you have a diversity of women. And so I think where these brothers started to go towards, other women other than African American women, because it's their first time getting the taste of femininity. Whether, from African, Haitian, Jamaican, they may still have their fuckery like the African American women do, but at the same time, you're getting a different taste of different cultures on top of the white women, where, their language isn't as harsh. They do things that the normal inner city kids don't do. And you kind of get hip to it. I mean, you kind of adapt to your environment. And so when a lot of those athletes get in those campuses, it's a whole new world for them. If you've grown up in Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, Atlanta, in the slums your entire life, and you get to college campuses and, people are smiling and happy and partying, having a good time, you kind of, change your environment a little bit. And so again, do I see, I know I'm kind of jumping back and forth right now, but I see a slight difference. I will say the African and Haitian women are a little bit more, have a little bit more femininity from my experience. I mean, again, I don't have like something to gauge it, but just from what I saw, they're a little bit more welcoming. They're a lot more, friendly, just somebody you could approach and just, kind of have a little platonic surface level conversation with, compared to African American sisters. You got to be on something. But again, looking at that draft this past week, you see it, and a lot of brothers typically get non-African American women in college. A lot of times the saying is, he get on and he, goes and get a white girl, but a lot of times that white chick will have, be committed to him before they have anything. They're committed, before they even walk across the stage, get their degrees. She's committed for the long haul, and then, she reaps the benefits, 2 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, and she just happens to be there. But then, the whole community gets up in an uproar because she has a white, and don't get me wrong, trust me, I have a black wife. Like, I'm all about black marriage because that's what we promote in our business. But I'm just, you
understand, you play football with Antonio Brown, right? You're on the same football team.
I played football with Antonio Brown, Jaleel Adai, all those guys who played at Central Michigan. And guess what? That was their first time having white chicks. When they came, for
the Chargers, right? Jaleel Adai. You still playing?
He plays for the Texans now.
Okay.
Those Florida boys, coming up to Michigan, being Southern black men, getting a taste of Northern white chicks. That was a whole different world for them, to be completely honest, they still dated black chicks until they left.
Mhm.
And so again, when you're introduced to something new, you tend to gravitate towards it. So when a sister, when a white girl's like, hey, do you want to go tubing with us? Black people don't go tubing. We barely go swimming as it is. And so, you go tubing, they invite you, to go on the boat or to, do something extravagant that Black people typically don't do. You kind of get attracted to that. And so, you tend to swing like, okay, they're a little bit more adventurous. She's a lot more nurturing. If we have a disagreement, she's not ready to, go fisticuffs with me.
Right.
And so I think that's the reason why, brothers like Jaleel Adai and Antonio Brown, all those brothers who, tend to marry white, they got the introduction in college.
Mhm.
And just when you get a taste of something new, you're hooked on it.
Right. Let me also say this real quick, and I know this from going to PWI. Because there are Black women, obviously, and even at HBCUs, and there are a lot of good looking, like one thing I like about educated Black women in comparison to the non-educated ones, for the most part, they tend to look a lot better. I mean, that's just in my opinion. Like the ones that are going to university, stuff like that, they tend to be a little bit more attractive in comparison to the ones who are not. Here's the issue that I came across and many other brothers. We were in college, but the girls that were in college who should have been trying to check for us, these chicks were checking for the niggas in the street still. Like, do you know how many educated Black women that are smart with 3.7 GPAs are still dealing with niggas that's selling drugs? Like, they're not looking for the niggas in college like that. Now, I mean, if you were, in Omega Sci-Fi or, now a lot of those brothers will be getting checked for it, especially in the HBCU system. But, you'd be surprised at how many Black women that are in the PWIs or HBCUs, and they are still looking for the niggas, and they are still dating the niggas in the street, or still dating the nigga from back home that, while she in school studying organic chemistry. That's one thing I want to say. But another thing that makes it different for African Americans to date African women or even Haitian women. When we date Black women of other cultures, one thing that I can tell you that gets a lot of African American niggas' nerves: we do not want to be fucking with your family like that, right? Africans, big ass family, big ass parties, goat meat, chapati if you in East Africa, nigga. They expect a lot of shit, a lot of gifts, a lot of begging, a lot of niggas is not gonna be fucking with that, right? It's too much work. Like most African Americans, right? It's like if you're African American dad, you be like, "Hey, you love my daughter? Yeah. You want to marry her? Yeah. You love her? Yeah. All right, nigga, don't hit her. Here the bitch go." You know what I'm saying? And take this bitch away from me. That's how most African American families do it. Do you love my daughter? I sure do. You gonna marry her? Yeah. Take this bitch away from me. Get her out, so I can get on with my life. You gonna take care of this bitch? Cool. You ain't gotta pay no bride price. Just get this bitch out of here. Take her with you. That's how most African American families are. Just don't you hit my daughter. Don't fuck her up, and get this bitch out of here. Most African American mothers and fathers is praying, please somebody come get this bitch. Okay. That's how most, they don't want to talk about it, but that's what we're talking about. Let's be honest. African Americans, we more care about, do you love my daughter? Africans, that ain't the case. You gotta, when you marry them, you marry the whole family. And most niggas is tired of our family. We're not trying to, no, you can't come over. No, I don't want your mama coming over here cooking up hella shit. Why is she here? And that's how it is. I don't want to go home. You getting the fuck, because we don't like African Americans. We don't like a lot of motherfuckers at our house. And Africans will show up at your house unannounced. That's cool. If you might get shot fucking with me. And that's what makes the problem with brothers marrying, dealing with women and other, because they a lot of family and a lot of motherfuckers hanging out on my house. No, you cannot. Because see, African Americans, we understand. Do not come to my house unless you call first.
Yep.
Africans don't do that.
That's true.
The motherfuckers.
No, that's true.
I thought I would spend like 45 days here. No, motherfucker, you can fuck out.
Yeah.
That's what make niggas a little bit tight.
He said 45
And the
days.
chicks can't say no to the family. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, brothers.
With dealing with the HBCU, I went to South Carolina State University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. So what you're saying is exactly true. The dudes pull up in the box Chevys with the prime dot doors on the floaters and everything, and you got chicks that's doing biology, chemistry, all these other high majors, and you'll say, "Hey, man, well, she on the dean list or whatnot." I'm like, "Damn, I'm over here studying computer science, and I can't pay to get a lap dance. So y'all going to these sorry bums over here doing nothing. They pulling up on campus." Because most black campuses have a entry and exit. I mean, you can get in and out of it like left and right, so they don't really have to go through security. So that goes on
Right.
campus all the time. They pull up. First thing they say, "Hey, cuz homecoming coming up." They pull up in this Chevy. They got dope money. You know, back in 2006 to 2010, gold fronts and fronts was the big thing. So they pulling up with the baggy white t-shirts as a dress or whatever they call it, with the shorts that come all the way down to your shoes. And the chicks going over there to them. So that was a big factor that played a lot of things with me. You know, I'm like, wow, I'm over here studying my ass off, and y'all going to the other dudes over here. So when I started to go to school in Pittsburgh, man, I'm telling you, it is completely different. You know, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has a big Saudi presence, because I think the king of Saudi, or one of the kings over there, pay for the kids to actually go to school in Pittsburgh. So
that happens at my school in Poland too. They pay for all of it, full tuition.
Yeah,
and they're giving them allowance too.
Yeah, you have to do a degree. And I don't know if anybody ever saw a Saudi woman without all the stuff on. They are gorgeous. The accent could be messed up, but Lord have mercy, they are beautiful. And I got up there. We went to a party downtown, Carnegie Mellon. You had the University of Pittsburgh, and the women look different and they're more friendlier. So I'm like, I'm coming from South Carolina, and I'm like, damn, I should have came up to school in Pittsburgh, you know, right out of high school. And we went to Arizona. The white girls, you know, we went over there for my birthday. So we went over there. The girls of other nationalities, friendly, dancing. You got to worry about nobody shooting or whatnot. And we were down in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I'm like, wow, coming from South Carolina, seeing this, how more receptive the women are, it changes your perspective on a lot of things.
Facts.
I just want to say one thing real quick, right? Another thing too, like when you dealing with these I wasn't gonna say shit. I had a point, man, but I forgot. But I think when you're talking about the African Americans that women in college, damn, go ahead. I'm sorry. I forgot the point you was talking about. I was wanted to say about on anybody else. Go ahead.
Yeah, for folks that don't know, like I went to a PWI. You know what I mean? And it was like my first opportunity seeing so many different races that I wasn't as used to. You know, I was familiar, but not as used to right next to me. So I think in kind of hearing a lot of different, opinions of the folks on the panel right now, I probably have had a lot more experience with a lot of other different races, right? So I'm talking about it from that perspective.
Right.
And dating Black women and dating every other race. I still come out of that, and I am my preference is for Black women. But I will say, and looking from the outside looking in, I think what happens is, and listening to Dr. D talk, listen to Hassani talk, is like, once you step out your own way and open yourself to the opportunity that is all over this world, and not go into it with a lens of, that is not one that allows you to critically think at the world, at the world and the races and the genders at like a macroeconomic level. If you can only take your perspective on the block that you grew up in, and then try to face Earth, it can be hard. It can be really hard to come up with the same conclusions that I have. If I've been to a whole bunch of countries. I also did a study abroad in Finland. O'Shea, I know you talk about Poland all the time. I know they're not like that related, but on the map, they're kind of over the same area. But anyway, I did Finland for like 2 months. And within that, I did like a whole tour all around Western Europe. So in total, it was about 12 countries or something like that. And within that, I'm away from majority of the time away from my African American brothers and sisters. So I'm over there, just studying abroad. And I think like when I went over there and being able to see all of the things that I was able to see, being able to understand that, or to look at someone next to me and know that I'm having a conversation with them, not in the thought in the back of my mind that they're talking to me this way because of the skin color that I have. Like, I'll never forget, like, when I was in Finland, right? Like, and Finland is interesting in the sense that, number one, where it's at on the map is crazy. Like the time period that I went, it was like 19, 20 hours of darkness when I went. It was just a weird place to be in. But at the same time, like, I'll never forget, like, walking throughout the streets and at first feeling really uncomfortable because I didn't look like anybody else. But it took a lot within that to look around and say, yo, they don't care. And it took a lot to say, like, yo, they really, like, I brought in my own conscious bias into that situation. And when I got to a point where I was able to open up of who I actually am and begin to be able to communicate with them, what I came to is that they just people generally respect nice people, right? Yeah, that's true. So I just say all that to say, and also too, what's interesting about that, I also think, like, because of my facial structure, they were always like super curious where I was from. Just a little bit of history about Finland. They have a immigration thing with parts of Africa. I think it's Somali. They have like an immigration, like, you could kind of think of it in the sense of everything with Trump and Mexico and a wall, right? There wasn't a wall over there, but they have a thing over there in Finland with that. And they would like look at my face and not see Somali. So I was having conversations with them in order to understand, like how do you, right, like, take in knowing me differently than them, like, hey, what is the difference between African American and Somali? And even from their perspective, like, it's just, if you were a nice person, if you were a good person, they would, come out to you with open arms. So I would suggest anybody who has the opportunity to get out the country, do so, you can expand your horizons.
No, I've experienced that even in Poland. I can't lie. And Poland is known to be like, a racist country, but people will treat you on an individual basis as you present it. That's typically true. I will say that. Hassan, you want to weigh in on your brother, or Dr. D, or?
Actually, really quick, O'Shea, do you mind if I throw in a quick disclaimer?
Go ahead.
Because every time we have this conversation, there's always going to be one brother that say, y'all just don't have the game to get black women, or y'all don't know how to, talk to black women in order to get them interested. And that's not the case. The gentlemen who date, interculturally or interracially know that if their approach doesn't work with black women or African American women, I should say, they can plug it into a different variable, white woman, Hispanic woman, whatever, and it works just fine. It's just whatever you present, for some reason, African American women don't like, and that's okay. And what is I think the brother's Edward Anderson, you just go to a different store. Yeah. And so, and again, we just have to get out of this mindset that everything is all about game. Sometimes you just are not attracted to, people are just not attracted to what you present. So if you present something different, or if you present something different, it's not your authentic self. So this whole spiel about having game is really kind of puts you in a conundrum, because you give this perception that you're a certain way and you're not. And for a lot of quote unquote educated lames, they kind of stay to themselves, because there's no reason for us to come off as hard. There's no reason for us to come off as the thugs or the gangsters or whatever. That's not who we are. And so for some, and just for whatever reason, different women just find it appealing. So for anybody who has the idea that we don't have game, then ask the men who do well interculturally or interracially.
there's so many people that feed into the the idea of game or whatever game is defined by whoever is talking about it, and then you slip into that role and you're unhappy, right? There's so many people that are not living and being themselves, and they're just unhappy in being able to do so. So it's like, one thing that I tell my boys, just in the people that subscribe to me on my channel is like, yo, listen, don't let anybody shame you into how you look, how you buy things, how you dress, how you act. Be you. Don't let anyone shame you into the type of women that you date. If you find a type of woman attractive, then go and date them. Out on this thing called life, do not let anyone limit you. Do not let anyone put you into a box that says how you were supposed to live life, ever.
Let me add to this, and I will say one thing. And shout out to Carter Gunner Chris. And this is going to be taken with some criticism, and I think we've been holding almost 400 people since we've been in the chat. But one of the things I would like to see, those of us, and we are on the path, but a lot of talented Black men, we could really change the impression that our people would see of us overnight if we would do even 5 or 10% more things together. And what I want to say is, when I look at a lot of these tech channels, Linus Tech Gaming and stuff like that, here are guys, and I'm just using YouTube as an example. And Mediocre, I would consider you more of a YouTuber than anybody else, because I wouldn't consider like Andre uses YouTube, but he's not a YouTuber. I mean, he's just this is a funnel for him. But when you look at the guys that have tech followings, shout out to Carter Chris, Linus Tech out of Canada, and all these guys that are doing AMD reviews and i9900s, and graphic cards and all these systems. They have built up platforms so much so that women are much attracted to them in their communities. And one of the things I gotta say about Black men, we have brothers that are talented, that are smart. And I know Andre, he went to Afrotech in the Bay Area. I believe he was there in Oakland. Things like that. And while we complain about what sisters are liking and stuff, but we got to really be honest and ask ourselves, do we really promote the positive Black male image to the world that would say, hey, listen, this is what we do. We have functions. We have beauty pageants. We have this. We have that. And these are the things that we have to offer people, and this is why you should be down with us. We don't typically do that, but what we will do is we will, while we don't do those things, we will want to know like why we are not promoting. And obviously, we expect that sisters should promote the image. And even though this show is for Black men, right? And you guys see this all the time. Women are here all the time. There are a lot of Black women out there that are looking for, what are these guys talking about? What are these guys doing? Wow, that's interesting what these guys are talking about. But a lot of Black men, we struggle in the platforms and pushing our own narratives and telling our story. And I just want to tell guys this. Hey, listen, nobody respects a group of people who don't tell their story. Nobody does respect a group of people who don't look at themselves as winners. Okay, the Jewish community, they tell their story. The Asian community, they tell their story. Everybody that's on top or trying to be on top is going to tell their story. And then you have the talented Black men that I will say, and we kind of complain about the reason that people don't fuck with us as they should when we don't promote what we should be promoting. And I just want to tell a lot of Black men out there that, you are what you can promote. If the standard is that you're lame, I've seen it in a lifetime. I remember when being gay was a terrible thing. I mean, I've lived long enough to see this. I lived long enough to know where there was free reign of terrorism on the gay community. So within 15 to 20 years, you cannot say nothing about them. I've lived through that. Like I was alive where Living Color, you could make fun of gay people. You could make fun of it was okay. You could roast them. But you cannot do that now. It's a lawsuit. And that's only because gays they tell their story, right? They tell their story. They say we're not going to go for this, and this is what we're going to do. A lot of black men don't do that, and unfortunately, nobody respects people who don't tell their story. You know, it needs to be, you know, and we're working on it small. Black male conventions. We need black beauty pageants. We need what we like. We have the money to do that, but we just don't put those things into action. I think once black men start to do that, because we have the versus the Pookie and the Ray Rays. Come on now, we know that we're brighter than those guys, but those guys are promoting themselves more than we are, and now we're mad about it. The stupid people should never out-promote people who are smart, and we're the only group of guys that allow that to happen. And so then we sit back and then you wonder why Big Booty Keisha, Big Booty Tanya, whatever, they're not catering to you. But one of the reasons that black men are having problems even with in the black community is that you don't promote yourself. Brothers got to promote themselves. And one thing that all women will yield and bow down to, and that is the unity of men to any kind of degree. Women bow because men create situations. Men create resources. I can tell you right now, like even my online network, I've never even met Andre and Tony and Sub-Zero and Maurice November. But just guys like that have changed my life forever. And I haven't even met them. And we could pull off things that people could never imagine by just meeting these guys. And that's what brothers got to start to do. Brothers got to start to do these things and then watch the people pour in. Now, all of a sudden, you're sexy. You're not going to be sexy if you don't promote yourself like, hey, I'm an academic or I'm an engineer, or I'm a whatever. Women are looking to come to guys who want to promote themselves. And one thing I will take from Simple to P, he says, guys think that women like Pookies and Ray Rays. It's not true. Women will like anybody if they like you. You could be a guy at McDonald's. You could be a guy at Walgreens. You could be a pastor or be a pimp. You could be a nigga that's working as a lawyer. But does she like you? Do you give her a reason to like you? And a lot of times as black men, we graduate college and we get these great jobs and we think that's enough. That's really not enough. We got to give everybody a reason to want to deal with us. And a lot of times, all right, I graduated, we have this good job, I'm living, so there's a reason. A lot of times that's not enough of a reason. We need more propaganda. And then when we do that, it's easier. So we got to accept that and take it on the L that black men don't promote themselves. And you're not going to get what you want if you don't promote yourself. I'm sorry, go ahead. Anybody?
No, it was a fantastic point. You were in your bag right there, O'Shea. But I think what happens is, just like some of the comments that I see down there, what ends up happening is a lot who get successful just drift off into their suburban paradises and never look back. Yeah. I mean, and the reason, because they can be happy in doing so. They can be happy taking all the knowledge and the things that they learn, you know what I'm saying, and just going to go live and not being able to tell the story, or they just don't have time, you know? They just don't have time. They're raising families, you know, and that's my thing is like, you know, always saying in the mind of, you know, each one, teach one, reach one, you know, like I have to be able to pay a component of this forward as long as what I have the time. I have to be able to, you know, set out time aside to try to educate others on how I was able to do it. And it's like, you know, you talk about it, O'Shea, but I don't know if you give yourself enough credit for placing yourself in a position with enough of what the dude that you're talking about to put it on a platform in a way. And this is the thing, is that it's, you know, you guys just started a couple months ago, I believe, but like, man, like, I really and truly believe what you have started here and the roots that you have on YouTube in the Hall of Game. And shout out to Gabe A as well. I know he had a lot to do with creating this as well. I mean, it starts here, you know, like it legit, it can start here. This changing, this re-narration of what it means to be a success, or what it means to be a masculine man, all right, or what it means to be, you know, have a black man with a suit on. Like, what does that mean in the culture?
Oh yeah, man. Thank you so much, brother. Shout out to Cardona Chris. Anybody want to? We've been going 2 hours, man. Anybody got any last words to say? Or we held almost 400 the whole entire show, man.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. And it's mediocre stuff. But He said, and his channel's fire too. So anyone who's not subscribed to Mediocre Shadow, he has a good balance of witty intellect and humor, and he puts it together, man. Good stuff channel. So I encourage no doubt. I talk to Black men who want to advance and push their life forward, right? Like that's who I talk to, either consciously or subconsciously, right? So that's where my rhetoric, who my rhetoric is geared to. So with that being said, have a standard. What your standard is does not have to be my standard. I'm not a cult leader, right? So I don't even need a woman to work. I would rather a woman not work but come from a good household because I can put her to work, right? So that's my standard. So, but if you weren't raised to have a standard or to have a baseline, get one. Get some things, some non-negotiable things that you will not tolerate. And I think it will save you a lot of heartache down the line. Of course, there's always a risk for some bullshit, but having some set of baseline or standard, I think will help all Black men who are striving for life going forward. Well, it will help us out. All right, guys, I'll get later. Thanks.
All right, and guys, don't forget to, man, you know, the super chats are not like it used to be on the old community tab on the old thing. I can't go back and read them like I used to. So if I missed yours, thank you so much. But guys, subscribe to Andre Hatchett on YouTube. We're putting the link in, and also Mediocre. I did get some news, people. So guys, if you want to subscribe to Mediocre Tutorial Reviews, I'm gonna let him tell you about your channel, and then his link is below, right? I'm putting the link in the chat room. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell on his channel. Go ahead, brother Mediocre. Any last things you want to say, brother?
Hey man, I'm just happy to come up here and contribute. It gives me a lot of pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Just to come up here and just to talk with you fellas. You know what I'm saying? Just to politic with the with the brothers. For folks that want to come over and come check me out, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, feel free to. I think they're dropping a link down in there. We do a lot of different topics. Pop culture topics, topics in the Black community. We do a lot on dating, relationships. We do a lot on how to appropriately, critically think about information that hits you. We do financial literacy. We do your purpose, your meaning, your why, and so much more. So yeah, just come through, say what's up. We got great combos happening over there.
All right, brother. And also thank you for subscribing. And then my brother Hassani, when he gets his channel lit, I'm gonna actually do a video and respond to his article so we can kick him off and get him, monetized within the first week. That's my goal. But brother Hassani, go ahead and drop some knowledge on him, brother.
Again, Oshad, I appreciate you having us on. And you know what? You have actually taken the first step to change the narrative for us brothers. As you said, the ladies come on and they see what we're talking about, and they see that there's educated brothers, there are professional brothers, there are married brothers, there are people out here doing it. So like we talked about maybe a couple streams ago, is that they can't say that we're not out here. We are now getting our voices heard, and now they won't be able to go back and play the mystery game, because now our voices are getting louder and louder. You're helping YouTubers collaborate, on this platform to say, yo, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're tired of doing. This is what we're needing in order for us to come back to our communities and invest. So again, I appreciate you, bringing us all together to get this narrative up and running. And for the brothers who are listening, regards to the topic, vet her. You may have your preference of whether you deal with her, whether she has a father or not. But again, you have to ask those right questions and see what her answers are, and also see what her actions are. Because if they don't line up, then it may be somebody you may not want to deal with. And until next time, we'll see you on the next one.
All right. And Dr. D, I'm going to let somebody bring a new topic tomorrow, if you guys want to come. But Dr. D, go ahead and close us out, brother.
I appreciate, mediocre tutorials and reviews. I appreciate everybody on here, all the brothers that come through. And this has been a platform to where I can vent how I feel about things. And I like the fact that there are smart-minded and intelligent brothers that can get together and express how they feel about things and enlighten other brothers. But one of the biggest things I want to tell the black men, if somebody has went ahead of you and done the work and has the receipts and actual experience to prove it, listen to them. Because a lot of the times what happens is a lot of brothers will listen to somebody else instead of listening to somebody that has walked the path before you. It does it all the time. And that's why a lot of brothers don't end up successful, because they took advice from somebody else. People, the guys on the platform, we have done many things. Follow to what they say. You can email me, you can email the other guys. We've done the work before. Just ask for help. Do not be afraid to ask for help. It took me a long time to do that in my life, because you're afraid to ask for help because you're afraid of how it makes you feel. But ask somebody for help. But the last thing, listen to people that have done it before. They give the best advice. Do not listen to anybody that has never done anything in their life, because you'll end up being just like them. If you want to be greater, you got to listen to greater people.
I know that's right. That's definitely the truth. And guys, I want to say thank you so much. For me personally on my channel, it has been over a while since we hit 1 million views in a month. It's been at least 2 or 3 years, right, since I've been on this one. But we were able to crack it this month. So thank you guys for watching all the videos that I put out, because I do put out a shitload of videos. And then the thing about it is, and I am thankful for the guys that come by and share on the hall. It's a great community. You guys know I love my Sunday Rumble. I love nigga shit. Like, as much as I love this, but I love ghetto hood rat comedy shows. I love niggas getting cussed out. I love it. God is still not through with me. And I love nigga shit ghetto content, because we have like 2,000 motherfuckers in there, and niggas be going crazy on panel. Y'all know I love that type of shit. I'm not gonna go back into that until about like maybe May or June. I am gonna go back to it because I'm a crack addict for that kind of stuff. I love it, but I'm not gonna go back to it right now. Peter, she just, oh, I'm so happy. But I do appreciate these more, and the reason why I appreciate this more is because these are guys that I professionally, that I'm trying to at least have something in common with, or we could talk about things I can't talk about on my normal channels. So thank you, brothers. Appreciate you, brothers. There are a lot of guys that want to get more involved. Come and get more involved. Subscribe to Mediocre's tutorials and reviews. I know that we're gaining. I see that his channel is growing, man. You got a lot. You get a lot more subs just in general. I see.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I keep thinking it's because of COVID and there's a lot more people home watching. But
you getting more subs, man. So
listen, man, you getting 1 million in a month is a testament to your grind. And I think a lot of folks without YouTube channels don't understand what type of goal that is. That is crazy, man. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, see, like, I used to do that before I took, because what happened was I have like actually 20 million and 30 million views on this channel, but like 1,000 and something videos I've taken and put on private. So my OG classics are not on the channel no more. So it's actually like, those of you who know my original videos, like 60% of my videos are not on YouTube anymore, because a lot of them I was going too hard, so I had to take them down. So I had to rebrand my whole channel, and then that, when you do that, and then it's like it takes some time for it to pick back up. But so we did, to get 1 million views in 1 month is very difficult. Usually I average on this channel somewhere between 600,000 to 800,000, but we were able to do the meal ticket. Thank you guys, and we're going to continue to do more. And then also we're able to bring more people on there. So guys, shout out to everybody. Hopefully me and Gabe are we might make I might make a whole new O'Shea nigga shit is cool. Don't leave it under 10. You must moderate. But anyways, guys, shout out to Cut to the Chase. Go subscribe to my brother. Subscribe to Keep It Techie. And I got some new videos for y'all tomorrow. Actually, it's the same video that you did today, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. about the chick that was actually looking for a stepdaddy while her husband was in the hospital dying.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, we probably should do a Hall of Game on that. Like this chick, what up, Black is Night? It's true story. This chick came on the live stream looking for a guy. She's married to a guy that's like 65 or 66. He's dying right now in the hospital. She don't think he's gonna make it. So she's on there looking for a man, and she said that I need a backup plan.
Wow.
She said, "One in the chamber." It's cold out here in these streets.
So I gotta get her. I gotta get her. So we're gonna put her on. I got Amber Rose. Amber Rose is looking fucked up. She's hella fat now. I gotta get Amber Rose tomorrow.
All right.
Then also
drunk. I love it.
Yeah, and then also these women are talking about how their masturbation is making their quarantine they're more relaxed. I got to get them. So
till the bills roll in.
Yeah, it's a lot of them. Brother Nick, listen, I've been on round the clock on these hoes. So tomorrow, and I got another. She hit the wall, but she's still entitled. I gotta get her. So guys, keep sending me them those dating profiles. Have you seen my hit the wall mediocres tutorial reviews?
The hit the wall, yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, celebrity jumps. Yep.
Okay, yeah, because those hit the walls. I got the one that I got coming tomorrow. Oh my God. So all right.
Yeah, O'Shea, you work hard, man. From seeing you in the car in 2015 to doing the bed to you doing the videos in that bathroom, man.
Yeah, I know.
5 years.
Yeah, man. You know, the white man, he didn't hold me back, brother. So, but guys, give me a topic for tomorrow.
All right,
use your niggas' intelligence to do something great tomorrow. So peace out.
All right.
Everybody. See you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Peace.
All right.
Peace.